So good afternoon, friends. Okay, we'll start with B and I'll directly go to the screen.
Yes, Father.
Yes, Father. Yes,
Yes,
Father.
Father. Yes, Father. Yes, Father.
Okay, let's check one exception-based question. The guidelines extract says that the nurse in charge options.
Supervise
A
the
option.
opening of the controlled drug cupboard. B should make sure that what cupboard keys are kept together. C can delegate responsibility for the cupboard keys to another ward.
In your hard copy, take your hard copies. So the guideline extract says that the nurse in charge must supervise the opening of the controlled drug cupboard, should make sure that ward cupboard keys are kept together, can delegate responsibility for the cupboard keys to another ward. So what are the hedging words?
Nurse in charge.
That's in charge.
Yeah, nurse in charge. Now it's a guideline. So what she should do or he should do, what the nurse in charge must do. Option A,
Must supervise.
supervise. Supervise is the hedging word. What should you do? First option says supervise. Second,
Kept together.
Keys kept together.
is kept together. Right. Then third,
Delegate
responsibility.
yeah, delegate responsibility. Yes. So now, from our common sense, let's try our general knowledge or our professional knowledge. This guideline extract says that the nurse in charge must supervise the opening of the controlled drug cupboard. Second one should make sure that what cupboard keys are kept together. Third one can delegate responsibility for the cupboard keys to another ward. Any clue?
She cannot supervise all the time, Father. So A cannot be.
He cannot supervise all the time. Okay.
So we can eliminate A.
B or
Now you can delete A. Let's see. We are eliminated it.
Keys are kept together. We should not keep
Should
all
not be
the
kept
keys together.
All the
Yeah,
keys must be
yeah.
kept together. Do you do that?
Not allowed.
no,
Not
Father.
allowed.
No, Father.
Not allowed.
C is the answer. Let's check. Let's check. We are not going into all the details. We will just check with this. Now the topic sentence. Just read. Someone please read.
Keys for the controlled drug cupboard are the responsibility of the nurse in charge. They may be passed to a registered nurse in order for them to carry out their duties and return to the nurse in charge. If the keys the controlled drug cupboard go missing, the locks must be changed and informed and an incident form completed. The controlled drug cupboard should be kept separately from the main body of. Apart from in exceptional circumstances, the keys should not leave the ward or department. If necessary, the nurse in charge should arrange for the keys to be held in a neighboring ward or department by the nurse in charge there.
So what is the responsibility? The guideline says, what is the responsibility? The keys for the controlled drug cupboard keys are the responsibility of the nurse in charge. Okay. They may be passed to a registered nurse in order for them to carry out their duties and return to the nurse in charge. So it can be passed to given to somebody else, right? Meaning is you can
Yes.
give it to others.
Delegating
Then-
the responsibility.
Yes. Again, last one, if necessary, the nurse in charge should arrange for the keys to be held in a neighboring ward or department by the nurse in charge there. What is the meaning? If necessary, you can
Give
the key to another ward. Delegate the responsibility. You can delegate the responsibility. And keeping together, you see, keys should be kept separately from the main body of keys. The control drug cupboard keys should be kept separately. So second option says, should make sure that all cupboard keys are kept together. So they are opposites. They are just opposites. Text says, keys should be kept separately. And option B says,
Kept it together.
together. Even otherwise, what is the strategy you can use to eliminate the second option?
Absolute.
All.
Absolute. All is absolute. So immediately you can eliminate it. So that one is gone. Must supervise the opening of the control the drug cupboard key. They don't say anything about supervising here. No mention of supervising in the text. Even otherwise, you know, you cannot, nurse in charge cannot go and sit there in front of the cupboard key, cupboard and see, supervise everybody opening and closing, right? So there is no supervision required there as regards the cupboard key. Is that clear? And you know, keys,
Yes,
I have
Father.
highlighted with yellow. Keys are the keyword. Yes. Paragraph structure. So this is called exception-based question. Keys, responsibility of the nurse in charge. Yes, general rule is keys are the responsibility of the nurse in charge. Responsibility 1 may be passed to a registered nurse. Responsibility 2, if the keys go missing, change the locks, inform the pharmacy, and complete an incident form. Responsibility 3, keep the keys separately from the main body of keys. Responsibility 4 is the exception. Keys should not leave the ward or department apart from in exceptional circumstances. Apart from in exceptional circumstances. General rule is that keys should be kept in the concerned ward, but there is an exception. It can be delegated. That's why these are known as exception-based questions. What is the exception? They will explain the general rule. In that, they will see what all things to be done. Here they say responsibilities 1, 2, 3, responsibility of nurse in charge. But an exception is there. General rule is that he should not leave the ward or department. That is the general principle or general rule. But the exception is that apart from in exceptional circumstances where you can hand over the key to the next ward and get it back after the work is done. So this is a paragraph structure. Maybe you have seen morning. What are things we have seen? Structure, paragraph structure. We have not seen this responsibility, but we have seen reasons, solutions, all those things. So that is clear, right?
Yes, Father.
Let's see. Let's check one more. See, postmortem consent. Now, this again, the guideline. Who has to get something? Whom? When? How? Procedure.
Yes, Father.
Yeah. Somebody please
Yes,
read.
Father.
Please read.
When seeking consent for a post-mortem examination, it is necessary to option A, give a valid reason for conducting it. Option B, allow all relatives the opportunity to decline it. Option C, only raise the subject after death has occurred.
Okay. Tell me what are the hedging words? You got the material, right? Okay. Hedging words. When seeking consent for a postmortem examination, it is necessary to. Necessary means synonym of
Must.
Must.
Okay. Necessary to. Must do it. Something you must do. Okay. And the concept is consent.
Consent for post.
Concept is consent. Option B, A.
Valid reason.
Valid reason.
Valid.
Reason.
Reason for conducting.
One sec. Yeah, give a valid reason for conducting it. Valid reason. Then
All relatives.
option B, all relatives. Is there some problem?
Absolute.
Absolute. Then what happens?
Eliminate.
If there is absolute, what happens?
Eliminate.
We can
Eliminate. And third one,
Only
raise
only
the
raise
subject
the
after death.
subject after death. Only.
Remove.
What is it?
Absolute.
Huh? Absolute. So what
Absolute
happens?
word.
We can eliminate.
So what happens?
Eliminate.
We
So
can
you have
answer.
to
So A is the option.
Answer yes.
eliminate. So why should you go to the text?
Without reading, we can.
Should you go to the text? No.
Yes.
Let's
For
check
this
with the
material,
text.
no need for-
We need not go to the text at all, but we'll check the text whether it is right. Now you said give a valid reason for conducting it. We have eliminated without even looking into the text. But now we have to verify whether we are right. Okay. That was our presumption based on elimination strategy, eliminating the absolutes. Now somebody read the text.
Postmortem consent.
You
A
read
senior
yourself.
member of the clinical team, preferably the consultant in charge, should raise the possibility of a postmortem examination with the most appropriate person to give consent. The person consenting will need an explanation of the reasons for the postmortem examination and what it hopes to achieve. The first approach should be made as soon as it is apparent that a postmortem examination may be desirable. as there is no need to wait until the patient has died. Many relatives are more prepared for the consenting procedure if they have had time to think about it beforehand.
Okay, if I make it full screen, I can't highlight. Now it's okay. Now, a senior member of the clinical team, preferably the consultant in charge of the care. So that is subject complement. That has to be eliminated so that you can save time. So how do you read? A senior member of the clinical team should raise the possibility of a postmortem examination with the most appropriate person to give consent. What is that? Most
Scale for the
Scale.
yeah. So, yeah. Second option says, here says only that one particular most appropriate person, maybe husband or wife or dad or mom, someone. Now, second option says allow all relatives from Uganda, Dakshin Africa, Tamil Nadu, Chennai, Kerala, Trivandrum, and all these places, allow all relatives the opportunity to decline. Okay? In general sense, you know, that's impossible and should not do. How to find out all relatives? As you have completed all this list, someone else will come. I have registered married this guy. Okay? So you'll have to get their consent. Then you have to prove they have married and what are their relationships. So that's not at all practical. Absurd. It's all absurd, right? So from general sense, you know, second option can be, because you know from your general knowledge, from your professional knowledge, we don't allow all relatives or we don't seek the consent of all the relatives. That will be some more than 1,500 people, all the relatives, right? And only raise the subject after death has occurred. Normally, you know, when you have organ donation and such other situations, you get the consent before, because you can't wait for the consent. If the person is not there, organ donation cannot be done. So it can be. But then the text says there is no need to wait until the patient has died. Clearly says there is no need to wait until the patient has died. But see, option C says only raise the subject after death has occurred. So you see, we have not seen into the text. We have already eliminated and got the answer. How much time do you require for that? Couple of seconds. As soon as you see those absolutes, immediately eliminate. From your experience, you will come to know this can be done. Not because I am telling you, I am teaching you should do elimination. It should be from your experience. Now, one experience you have, it is right. So when you have multiple experiences, you eliminate and identify that answer. Then you scan the text. Then you realize that is the correct answer. Then when the exam happens, you need not to go and verify the answer at all. Is that clear?
Yes, Father.
Hi? Clear?
Yes, Father.
Yes. So see, what are the tips used here? Absolutes, all and only. Ignore the subject complement, and one elimination done by using the scale most appropriate person versus all relatives. Fourth one, paraphrasing answer option. That is, A option says, it is necessary to give valid reason for conducting it. That is the right answer. And the text paraphrases the same statement saying, the person consenting will need an explanation of the reason for the post-mortem examination and what it hopes to achieve. Means give them valid reason. That is paraphrasing. Opposite meaning, answer option B. Allow all relatives the opportunity to decline it. Text says, with the most appropriate person to give consent. Answer option C. Only raise the subject after death has occurred. Text says there is no need to wait until the patient has died. Clear?
Yes, Father.
Yes, Father.
Shall we go to the next?
Yes,
Yes.
Father.
Come on now. Online you can read one can read, others can read yourself.
What discovery have scientists made about possible causes of schizophrenia? Option A. Certain cells cannot move across the blood-brain barrier, affecting how the brain functions in relation to hallucination and delusions. Option B. Certain cells causes inflammation in the blood, affecting how the brain functions in relation to hallucination and cognition. Option C. Certain cells move from the blood into the brain to alert how it functions in related to cognition and delusions. Blood cells could hold the key to understanding schizophrenia. Australian scientists have made a remarkable discovery about what is lurking in the brain of people with schizophrenia, giving them new clues about what may cause the illness. Using new molecular technique, Professor Sidis Synonon Wackert showed a particular type of immune cell was causing inflammations in the brain. Her research found the cells could squeeze through the cracks in the blood-brain barrier to get into tissues and start affecting how the brain functions. That was confirmed where she did blood tests on people with schizophrenia. Those who were suffering psychosis had double level of inflammations compared to patients who were not psychotic at the time of testing. We can study the white blood cells in living patients and try to find how this related to their symptoms, their hallucinations, their delusions, and their cognitive problems, she said.
Yeah, again, this is a different type of question. It's about question, and almost you'll have to get into the gist of it. What discovery have scientists made about possible causes of schizophrenia? They are asking for a
Schizophrenia.
asking for
Possible causes.
Schizophrenia.
Possible
not
causes.
causes, possible
Possible
causes.
causes.
Sorry.
Possible causes.
Possible causes.
Cannot move across the
Cannot
blood.
Cells cannot move.
Huh?
Cannot
Cells
move
cannot
across the
Not move.
Cells
the
cannot
blood-brain
move.
barrier.
across the blood-brain barrier.
Blood-brain barrier.
Cannot move. Important thing is
Cannot.
cannot move.
Cannot
Like
move.
this.
Cells
move.
cannot move across. Second option B.
Cells causes
Cause
Inflammation
inflammation.
in the blood.
Cells cause inflammation in the blood.
Inflammation.
Okay. Then
That
Certain
Move
cells
from the
move
blood.
from the blood.
move from blood into the brain.
cells move from the blood into the brain. First option and third option, is there something
Opposite.
something that
Right opposite.
It is opposite. Opposite.
quite opposites. First and third is quite
Quite
opposites. So what
opposite.
happens immediately?
B can
One
be
of the answer will be
eliminated.
answered.
One of
B will
this
be
is
eliminated. Okay.
The other one can be,
Eliminate.
if there are two opposites, other one
Remove
or
the
two can
third
be
one.
immediately eliminated. If there are answer options, when in C there will be 4 options, 2 of them will be opposites. Immediately the other 2 will be eliminated. One of these opposites will be the answer.
Answer.
Either cells can move, cells move
Or
from the
cannot
blood
move.
into the brain, or cells cannot move.
cannot move.
Okay. So going to the text, what is the heading?
Blood cells
could
causes
hold the
Cells
key
could
to
hold the
understanding
key to
schizophrenia.
understanding schizophrenia. In general sense, if blood cells cannot move, they have no role.
Yes, Father.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you
Cannot
think of a
identify.
situation where blood cells do not move at all?
So
Do
there
not
is no
move means they have
schizophrenia.
to die. So from your common sense, if you cool down and think, cannot move, cannot be the answer. Already man is dead, then we should not worry about schizophrenia. Right? If the man is a man or woman, right? You are not saying responding because I said man. Okay. If the person is dead, then why should you bother about schizophrenia? So from a general sense, you know which is the answer. Let's see the text. Where do you find the answer? See here, there is something. Immune cells
Was
causing
causing
inflammation in the brain. Squeeze through. Squeeze through. Synonym somewhere?
Move.
Move.
Move, father.
Move. Squeeze through is the synonymous of
Move.
move from.
From.
So her research found the cells could squeeze through the cracks in the blood-brain barrier to get into the tissues and start affecting how the brain functions. Is the synonym of what? Synonymous of
From the blood into the
How
brain.
it functions.
how it functions in relation to cognition and delusion.
Delusions.
Synonymous. How brain functions in relation to cognition and delusion is the functions of brain. Someone is asking to repeat. Now we see her research found what discovery? What discovery? The question says what discovery? Here it says her research found. Are they sound same?
Yes, father.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Father.
Her research found the cells could squeeze through the cracks in the blood-brain barrier to get into tissues and start affecting how the brain functions. Means it causes delusions and cognition.
Cognition.
Cognition and delusions.
Delusions.
Say how it functions. How it means how brain. See, certain cells move from the blood into the brain to alter how it functions, means how brain functions in relation to cognition and delusion. In relation to
Which means
cognition and delusion. That was confirmed. That was confirmed. That's another strategy. If you remember, I taught you something like subjective agreement or reading for emotions. It was confirmed. I'm so happy. I'm glad that was confirmed. So reading for emotions. When emotions are expressed, that is the answer. That is the second verification of answer. Lidwin, got it? Okay. Now there is some confusing word was here. That was that.
That immune cells.
Inflammation,
No, no.
causing
No,
inflammation.
no, there was
Inflammation.
some similarity to another option when we were reading.
blood-brain barrier, that is in first option, and the paragraph also it is there.
And is it?
Further, maybe causing inflammation. Immune cells was causing inflammation.
Causing. See, this is the trick they play. Causing
Inflammation.
inflammation in the brain. Causing inflammation in the brain. And it says here somewhere, yeah, certain cells cause inflammation in the blood. See, the text says in the brain, and the question say answer option says cause inflammation in the blood. There are so many students immediately cause inflammation, correct. Blood and brain, there is a small thing, small difference. Cause inflammation, finish. Where, I tell you, even if you know this, you will make this mistake. During exam in the stress, cause inflammation, right, tick, darken and go. So beware, that's why I said in the first session itself, I said a focus for details. Focus for details. This typical trick they will play in so many of the texts. Small change, looks almost same, but slight change. But slight change changes a lot. Blood and brain is not same. Okay, this is how it is highlighted. Okay, and if you want the C, now C option says certain cells move from the blood into the brain to alter how it functions in relation to cognition and delusions. The text says the cells could squeeze through the cracks in the blood-brain barrier to get into tissues and start affecting how the brain functions. That was confirmed. Okay, what are the synonymous expressions? Move from, squeeze through. And to alter how it functions, start affecting how the brain functions. And the synonymous language, move from, squeeze through, or to alter how it functions, start affecting in relation to cognition and delusion, how the brain functions. Cognition and delusion, synonymous of brain.
Yes, Father.
Yes, Father.
It's a different type of question. Don't worry, beginners, don't worry, don't get confused. Just get an idea. When you work out, this will come to your mind. Okay, there is a small change. I was fooled. This happens only when you get a wrong answer. If your answer is right, this blood and brain, you will not understand. That's why I said in the initial stages of your practice, if you get less score, you are lucky. If you get more score, you will be taking the things easy. As something is wrong, you start analyzing why mine was wrong. Then you will understand there it says blood, here it says brain. Otherwise, you will never get into those details. So don't think if you get good score, you are great. No, that is only during mock tests. Do you have energy to go on? Online friends?
Yes, Father. Yes, Father.
Yes, Father. Yes, Father.
Okay.
Yes,
You have stamina? Yeah, there are many of my friends here after night duty. Okay, now there is one more beautiful one. Just read. Another strategy I am going to teach.
In Australia.
Yeah, that is one strategy.
Australia.
When a name is given, that is a strategy. So they will confuse you with the two names. Australia is here. In the text, one more country will appear, and you will take that result to this and this result to that. It's a small trick they play, but very tricky.
In Australia, A option, less than 10% of hernia mesh surgery operations causes unexpected problems. Option B, more than a dozen people have had complications following surgery. And option C, there are 54,000 lawsuits underway as a result of hernia mesh surgery.
Let's just check the keywords, hedging words. Hedging word in the question stem is?
Name
Australia.
Australia.
Okay. You can just mark, okay?
It's okay.
Once online? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
Don't mark. Yeah. Don't mark. Yeah, you can mark here also, no problem. Australia is the keyword in the
Name.
stem,
Keyword.
question stem. And in option A,
Less than 10%.
less than
10%.
10%. Less than 10% is the hedging word. So then
Dozen
More than a
of us.
dozen.
More than a
dozen.
dozen.
more than a dozen. You can mark more than a dozen. And third one,
54,000.
54,000
4,000.
yeah, 54,000 lawsuits. When there is number, just focus on number and person. Now your issue is here more than a dozen, less than 10%, and 54,000. Just identify those numbers in the text. Can you identify numbers in the text?
Yes,
We
Father.
have 54,000 in the first line.
54,000
Identify the country as well country name. Australia.
Yes, Father. Yes, Father.
Yes,
Made in
Australia.
And
More than a
54,000
But
Australians.
it's the
54,000
United
connected
States.
with which country?
United States.
United States. So
eliminated.
it is not relevant for us. We are bothered about
So
Australia. Now Australia. Something with Australia?
So last
The
month,
third
Australian surgeons told the ABC that complications were rare for hernia mesh surgery.
Usually
Usually,
about 5%.
About
usually
5%.
scale. Usually is
About
scale.
5%.
About
Usually,
5% of fish.
sometimes, rarely,
Scale.
never. So after the scale, when there is a scale, is a bubbling bulb, telling answer is here, answer is here, answer is here. And what is the next words?
5%.
About 5%. About 5% is equivalent to
Less than
less than
10%.
10%.
than
So you need not
10%.
read the whole thing. That's why when you use this strategy in the answer options, if you have numbers, all three numbers or percentage, just go to the text and identify the number. And if there are country or sometimes they will, in the C part, they will give some medical council, some organization, some names in the question stem. And below in the text, there will be 3-4 councils. Australian Council, American Council, British Council, or many councils. So if Australian Council is mentioned, you have to just swoop into that particular Australian Council, then find out what number or percent is given there. So do you need to read the text again?
No, Father.
No.
No need.
So that
Father.
is the correct answer. If you want, I will show you the highlights. See, this is the highlight. And again, second one, if you want to eliminate, second one is a factual statement. And what is given in the text, they say. Say means opinion statement. Opinion statement. If factual statement is option and text gives an opinion, that can never be the answer. That is not required here. You can directly go into
Eliminate.
yeah. Usually about 5% of patients. So number or person. And you say OET is difficult. And you after giving such easy, simple questions, if you don't score 450, I will throw. Oh, it's being recorded, right? What do you say, friends?
Thank you, Father.
Now we can discuss if you want to share something.
Thank you, Father.
See, whatever, if you have any challenging materials, always I tell you, you can send me. I am searching for challenging material. I don't find any challenging material. Whichever I take, one is when I search for more challenging, I get less challenging ones, easier ones. No smiles. Only Priya is smiling. Now Anu started smiling. Newcomers, if there are newcomers, don't worry. Okay, you can go and watch some videos. We will have some special sessions for newcomers.